Hello and welcome to this episode of Simply Saturday, where I get to show you a card that is fast and easy to make. You might be hearing thunder in the background, which has just begun as I started filming this. A little lightning show and some thunder today. My name is Julie and this is Stamp with Julie Baum. Today's card, although fast and easy, does have a lot of pieces. So we're going to jump into those and get all of our pieces prepared. Once those are prepared, the card goes together quite quickly. So let me tell you that I chose designer series paper from the lighter than air packet. And whatever paper you're choosing to use, you're going to need to select 3 designs that work well together because you're going to use 3 different prints. All right, and then the stamp set that I'm going to be using is Hooray for Surprises. So I'll be using stamps and 1 die from this. I will show you the die. It's this flower die here. So I have pre-cut with the die 3 flowers using that die. All right, let's talk about our pieces. All right, cardstock first. So for your base, oh, and look at these funny little animal Post-it notes. I've had these in my drawer and I'm like, I should use these. They're very cute. So I pulled those out today, but they're all kind of standing up like little chickens. Okay, so for your base, you're going to need a piece that is 4 1/4 inches by 11. And we're going to do some scoring and some cutting on this piece, but that is our base, 4 1/4 by 11. Then I have a piece of complimentary cardstock, and this piece is 2 3/4 inches by 4 inches, and you're going to need 2. So either 2 of the same color or 2 of complementary colors with your base. So you can see where I'm going here with my Bubble Bath, my Lemon Lolly, and my Azure Afternoon. All right, so that's those 2 pieces. Then you're going to need a piece of white cardstock, and it measures 2 1/2 inches by 3 3/4. And then our last 2 pieces of cardstock, we've got a piece that measures 1 inch by 3 inches, and I chose to have it matching with my base color, but they're not really hard and fast rules. You could mix and match your colors as you're going along. And then a white piece just slightly smaller than that pink one, and this measures 3/4 inches by 2 3/4. So you're going to get all those pieces of your cardstock cut first so that when we go to put the card together, it goes quite quickly. Then let's talk about our designer series paper. As I mentioned, you're going to want 3 patterns that work well together. So these are the 3 that I've chosen. The one that is pretty much your dominant one, I consider this one. So this is my hot air balloon print, and it measures 2 1/2 inches by 3 3/4 inches. The largest piece of the bunch is going to be 4 inches by 5 1/4, but this is going to have a portion of it covered. So that's why, well, both of them are going to have a piece covered, but I'm considering this my primary and these other 2 as secondary. So there you've got the measurement for that largest piece. And then this piece measures 2 1/4 inches by 4 inches. And the direction of these is as I'm holding them now. So make sure that your prints aren't funky, okay? So this one, as I said, is the 2 1/2 by 4. Let me bring that back here. I don't want to tell you wrong. 2 1/2 by 3 3/4. So that's this one. It needs to be on the tall side is your 3 3/4, and then on the short side is your 2 1/2. All right, and then on this piece, the 2 1/4 by 4, the long side, here's the 4 inch, and here's the 2 1/4, in case this had a print that was directional. Okay, so we've got all of our pieces cut, and now the card goes together quite quickly. The first thing that we're going to do is go back to that base and make a score at 5 1/2 inches. So that way it's going to fold this in half. This is our 11-inch piece, and I'm going to put it in here with the left edge at 5 1/2, and being careful not to use the cutting blade, which is the darker one. I'm going to use the scoring blade and score. All right, now we're going to cut a piece off of this and use it. So now what I'm going to do is just slide it to the left until my score mark is at the 3 inches. And then I'm going to cut that off. So this is the piece I've cut off, and I'm going to use it on the card. All right, that's as complicated as the scoring and cutting goes. Okay, so we can fold this, give it a nice good press on that crease with the bone folder. And we're going to do a lot of gluing right now. We're going to attach all of our papers. So here we go. I'm using liquid glue for the whole card. The first thing I'm going to do is attach that large piece. It's going to go on the inside. So as I mentioned, I've got clouds, thunder and lightning, and a light rain here in Southern California today. This morning was bright, blue, clear, gorgeous, and even kind of warm, kind of tropical warm, humid. And now we've got a little storm rolling through. Okay, there is the inside panel of the card. We're still going to do one more step on that, including our stamping. This piece is folded. Now, this piece that we cut off is going to be a cross piece that goes this way. And this is where our 2 1/4 by 4 inch piece comes in. So let's attach that. So like I said, once you're cutting, measuring and cutting of all your pieces is done, this goes together really quickly. All right, so I'm just centering that. Onto that piece. Okay, those are complete for now. Then I'm going to take this piece. I'm going to use my Azure Afternoon piece. It's going to be a layer here with my designer series paper on top of it. So let's attach that. And then we'll take that whole panel and attach it to the front flap of the card. What I like about this design, and so many designs that we work with, is how duplicatable they are. You can pick your designer series paper, whatever you're in the mood to work with or whatever you have on hand, and pair it up with coordinating cardstock colors and just recreate with this same look over and over using different items, and you get a completely different look. This just felt bright and springy to me, since by the time you're watching this on YouTube, we will officially be into spring. I hope the weather feels like spring by then. Okay, the last piece that we haven't dealt with, aside from these little ones, is this piece. Now, it is going to get glued onto the layer of cardstock, but I'm going to do my stamping on here. The reason for that is in case I make a really bad mistake on this, I don't want it already glued down to my cardstock and then the whole thing might be lost. So instead, I'm going to do my stamping first. Once I'm happy with it, I'll attach it to here. So let's do that next. I'm using Azure Afternoon as my ink color, and I'm using a birthday sentiment from that Hooray for Surprises stamp set. I am walking my stamp across the ink pad and turning it different directions. And now I'm getting hail. This is kind of funny that I'm recording during all of this, because you're also getting a blow-by-blow weather report. All right, so I'm stamping "Hope Your Birthday is Wonderful" right in the center of my white piece of cardstock. Then I'm going to, as a little accent, take Bubble Bath and add just a couple of hearts. So I'm going to place one here and one here. I feel like this is a little bit light. Honestly, I got preoccupied looking up at the hail that's falling all over my yard. So let's flip it over and do it again, and we'll pick the one that looks the best. Paper has two sides, so let's use the second paper side. All right, I'm going to ink this up. And in keeping with our weather report, the hail is about the size of mini marshmallows. All right, I'm going to concentrate and make sure that I give this a nice, clean, and firm press. I think that is a much better image. We're going to go with that one. Let's add the two little hearts in Bubble Bath, which is a lovely soft pink, like so. Great. All right, we're going to attach this, putting the glue on the bad side, and attach it to my Lemon Lolly piece of cardstock. Like so. Now I'm going to flip this over so I can press down on it without potentially smearing ink or getting any smears from my fingers on that crisp white paper. Okay, that's down very well. The next thing I'm going to do is position this piece right here on the inside panel, and you're simply going to eyeball it and stick it right in the center. So we're just doing glue, 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 all these lovely layers. All right, I'm eyeballing. That looks pretty good to me. I don't know if you can see it. I've got like a little speck of color on my yellow cardstock right there, and it's bothering me. Can you see it? Let me put this closer. It's so tiny, but it is bothering me on that yellow. So I'm just gonna first take a regular eraser to it. That's not helping. Let's try a sand eraser, which sometimes does the trick for whatever that little speck was. Oh, and that's helping. All right, there you go. A sand eraser is really a nice tool to have in your craft supplies. I will put a link to this. It's an Amazon buy. I'll put a link to this in the description below this video in case you don't have a sand eraser. Okay, so there we go. There is our folded card. There's the part on the inside. Now we need to finish the front. So this last piece that we already glued together is going to go right here. And we are going to attach that in place. This is one of those things of recording live that I'm noticing. So let me see what went wrong, because this yellow piece should not be showing over this piece. So let me see where this yellow piece went wrong so that you don't make the same error. I do have a completed card that is correct, so you will be able to see it, but let's just see what the problem is here. All right, my yellow piece is 2 3/4 inches by 4. This is fine, 4 1/4. This must be the part 2 1/2. Okay, so hopefully you stayed with me through this video, because I am now correcting myself. This piece of cardstock does indeed, no, it's what I said, but for some reason the piece that I had was not cut correctly. So in the beginning when I said that those, I said these two are the same two sizes. I said those two. Welcome to my world today. Okay, your yellow piece here ought to measure 2 1/2 inches by 4 1/4, and then you will not be running up against the little challenge that I have right now. This piece is going to go in place, and I am going to finish this card just like this, and then I'll show you the one where that piece of cardstock is cut down to the correct size. All right, let's do our last bit of stamping, which is You Are Simply Amazing. and I am using the Azure Afternoon ink pad again. I'll stamp that right here in the center. Now, if you have a hard time stamping on a small piece of paper, you could stamp this on a larger piece of white and then cut it down to size. Okay, and this gets attached to the next piece of cardstock, which is slightly larger. And to catch you up on my weather that I can see out my window, the hail has now stopped. It's gone back to rain and more thunder. Okay, this piece goes onto our front piece. And I'm going to almost center it. And the reason I said almost is because I am going to use these little flowers as decorations on this side. So instead of center, I'm going to eyeball it at center and then move it just a little bit to the right. That way, once my flowers are on there, it will kind of all look centered. All right, I have that in place. Now we're going to attach this to the front, do our little bit of embellishing, and we will be finished. So on here, this yellow piece again was cut slightly too large. So it shouldn't be showing at all. So what I do is I lay it just so it's covering it. And then I can see that I need my glue to be in this area here and to the left. I don't want any glue here or it will glue my card shut. So I get an idea of where the glue is going to go. And I know I need to be just on this end. In sticking with Fast and Easy, we're just using liquid glue today. I'm only going to do one thing with a different adhesive, and you'll see that at the very end. And then I'm going to line this up, covering that layer down there, but with my oops moment today, it's not going to cover it. Like so. Now, the nice thing is all of the colors work well together, so it's not really that big of a deal. But I will show you one that does not have that little error. All right, let's put our decorative flowers in place. The first two I'm going to put down just with some liquid glue. So I'm just kind of decorating to the left side of the stamped strip. And then the second one also just flat with some liquid glue. And then on my third and final flower, I'll use some small dimensionals. For this size flower, I'm going to use 3. And then this little element will have that popped up section. I'm just going to overlap it on the other two a little bit, and like so. Ooh, and there was a flash of lightning. All right, so these flowers, I just stuck with the colors that I had already begun with, the Lemon Lolly, the Azure Afternoon, and then instead of pulling in the Bubble Bath, this pink color, I went ahead and did it in Fresh Freesia, which is another of the colors that is in the Designer Series paper. The last thing I would do is add a couple of rhinestones, so let's do that. There are a number of embellishments that would look really good with this. Sometimes I don't want to overthink it, and so rhinestones are always a good choice. I'm going to put one there, one here, and a third one here. And there we have our fast and easy card, which really gives a great focal point of all of those beautiful papers that are working well together. And you can have it say, of course, whatever greeting and inside that you wish. All right, let me show you the other one where this panel was cut the correct size. And this one does not yet have the rhinestones on it, so I'm going to add those for you. On this particular card, I started with a fresh freesia base instead of the bubble bath. I did the same color here, the Azure Afternoon, and then on the inside I did the lemon lolly. And you can see that this panel completely covers and hides the panel on the inside as it was supposed to, instead of where I went wrong today. Okay, and here are my 3 little rhinestones just to give it a pop of bling, like so. Thank you so much for watching this card tutorial today and listening to my play-by-play weather report. I enjoy bringing these videos to you so very much, and it is an extra bit of joy when I hear back from you. So thank you to those of you who leave a comment or share with me how your project went after you watched. I really do love that. So keep those comments coming. As I do each time, I will put some information for you in the description box below this video, as well as some helpful things like the dimensions to all those sizes of paper, and also some shopping codes, both a host code for Stampin' Up! And then also some Amazon shopping links for you. And until I stamp with you next time, happy stamping.